Yeah. You got to go live on your end.
All right, we're good.
Sweet. We'll let a couple people join in, but you can do your thing. I'll
All
go
right.
ahead and kind of kick this off. All right. Painful watch tonight, says Skies in the chat. Dude, you're telling me, man. Like, that's what I was saying the whole game was just, this was so freaking painful for us. Shea's just out here shot chucking away. His shot's not falling in terms of his mid-range to the basket. I mean, you pretty much name it. He was just cold as it can get from a night from him. I mean, he still ended up with 26 points, 8 assists, 2 rebounds. Hartenside had 14, 10 and 6. Alex Caruso was pretty cold to start out, and then he hit some really clutch shots at the end with the rebounds and fast breaks and everything. And then, of course, Lou Dort was fantastic. He picked up 5 fouls, but we ended off winning this 103-101. Isaiah Joe, 20 minutes, 0 points. Kenrich Williams, same thing. 19 points, 19 minutes, 0 points. Those two guys, I felt like should have seen a lot less minutes in this type of game. I mean, if Kenrich isn't providing on the offensive end, I can think of many other defensive guys that can kind of come in for him that can be like similar production, such as Jay Will should have gotten more minutes. He's kind of deserved it from his previous couple of games and what kind of flashes we've seen. He's just a younger, beefier version of Kenrich that can guard a guy like Kawhi. So that's where I thought we should have just had him play a little bit more minutes. I felt like Kaysen deserved more minutes. He only got 30 minutes in this. I felt like he should have been playing high 35 minutes. Lou Dort was kind of in foul trouble. Aaron Wiggins should have picked up more minutes as well. He should be closer to 30, especially if we don't have J-Dub, Chet in the lineup. We need offense. I mean, he provided 19 points in just 26 minutes. That's pretty ridiculous and cold from him. So I appreciate that. We got Robert Tucker here. Love that the team has already secured the 1 seed and still beat the Clippers, who needed this win pretty badly, even though we're shorthanded. Also, I've got Josh here, Thunder fan, that's going to be joining us. What's up, Josh?
What's up, Josh?
What's up, dude? What's up, guys?
What's up, man? That was a crazy whirlwind of a match,
Yeah.
back and forth, playoff intensity from the Clippers side. What do you think, man?
I think that the refs need glasses. That's going to be my first takeaway of the game. Shea had an off night, and we were down starters. I'm pretty sure I kind of joined in late, so I'm not sure if y'all kind of went over this. But the fact that we were able to take on a fully healthy playoff team, not fully healthy, and not even probably even 75% of what we're able to do, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Plus a Shea off night, not a super efficient night from Shea.
Yeah. That was I love watching Shea, but that was a hard watch.
That was a hard watch, especially from kind of what we know that he can kind of produce. This is kind of the worst version of Shea, and that's still crazy that he's still able to still, lead a team to the win. I mean, we really counted on the bench unit. There was a specific lineup when he was off the court that kind of held us together there, I believe, in the third and fourth quarters. So it's crazy that we have the depth of we can have Shea on the bench and still rely on guys to just keep us in the game. And that's what we were missing in the last playoff run. And that's what we kind of have with having a guy like Hartenstein. He can kind of produce on all levels. Jay Will can kind of produce on all levels. Aaron Wiggins can produce on the offensive end. Kaysen and Lou pick up on the defensive end. So it's like we have a good mixture of guys that are able to protect both sides, even with or without Shea. And I did see a Shea specific stat there that we're like only +4 net rating with him on the court or off the court. and with him on the court, we're like a plus 17 or something crazy, or plus 22. Ridiculous. I mean, the difference that like he's producing with him being on the court versus off is noticeable, but it's still like we're still a plus team when it comes to him being off the court. So that's still even ridiculous in itself. So,
well, I mean, I think just Shea creates so much gravity towards himself. I mean, it gives our guys a chance to really, shine in their roles. Where, I mean, granted, Isaiah Joe wasn't hitting tonight. Nobody was really hitting from three, except for really like Jalen Williams, honestly.
Defense kept us in this game, that's for sure.
I mean, honestly, there was a point in the game where it was probably like 5-6 minutes left, and I was sitting there thinking, why is Aaron Wiggins not in the game? And I
was thinking the same thing.
But I think Alex Caruso really showed you why in that last 2 minutes. Even on that, I mean, I know it wasn't probably considered a block, and I know that shot probably wouldn't have counted, but like him being in Kawhi's face on that last shot attempt, it just shows me how much of a dog that man is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's not giving up an inch on defense, and then he's doing everything he can to just will the ball into the basket. Like, he's not the same offensive player that he used to be back in the day. He's not the same consistency level. He's much older, but he's still considered like a top defender at his age. Then also he's still a glue guy. Like, that's the main reason where I see a lot of casual sports pages posting Shea versus Josh Giddey just because Josh Giddey recently had his big game. And this is no diss at Josh Giddey. If anyone that follows me long-term knows, I'm a huge fan of Josh. Like, since we've had him, even when we let him go, even now, like, I love watching him. I still think his game will turn into a net positive overall in his career, but he's no Alex Caruso when it comes to just what he provides from a championship level defensive player and someone that communicates on the court. Those are things that aren't noticeable on the stat line, but they're big difference makers in games like this. Like, he hit that big three in the corner where if it was anyone else, that's like a 50-50 shot right there, right? And he's just someone you can trust. Like, he's on the court. I think Mark trusts him and the guys trust him. And when you're a championship level player, you have earned that trust to be on the court in those big defining moments. And we'll definitely be seeing a lot of him if we're in the finals, like the NBA finals. We'll see a lot of him in the fourth quarters. What do you think about that?
No, for sure. One thing that I think that people are kind of off base with, you brought up Josh Giddey, is the fact that everybody thinks that, maybe not everybody, but I've seen a large majority of fans think that just because one team won the trade, that means that another team has to lose. I think that both teams benefited.
I see it as a win-win for sure.
Oh, for sure. I don't necessarily think that, for one, Josh Giddey is not playing the ball that he's playing right now in OKC, and Alex Caruso fits like a glove here. So, like, I don't see a loser in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. Alex Caruso is the guy that is here to win a championship and, take us over to that next phase of development that we're going towards. And then in Josh's case, he wanted two things: a starting level role and more money. And he's going to get both of those things on his end. So that's a win for him. The Bulls get a great piece that they can lock up for a long-term future, where their future is pretty bleak outside of him on that team. Maybe Kobe White's pretty solid as well, but
Montas Buzeles could end up being a decent player.
But as those guys, as they keep, drafting players, I think he'd be a fantastic guy to usher in that next squad and bring consistency to a franchise that hasn't had that. So that's what he's providing, and it's, like you guys said, win-win.
I don't know if he wanted it necessarily, but I also think a fresh start was probably good for him just from a confidence standpoint.
Yeah, it's definitely redefining his career, and he's able to rewrite his own kind of history in the NBA just on the court. And I think that's what matters most. And that's where the win-win, I guess, comes from. I want to focus on other guys in this game. What do you guys think about Lou Dort's defense in this. I mean, ridiculous, man.
Lou Dort is the best on-ball, perimeter defender in the league for a reason. He's just tenacious. I think that if he is just able to, he's able to slide his body in a way that I really haven't been able to see in a lot of players. Like he gets in front of a guy and he just stays there. He does, like, unless there's a hard screen coming, like he just stays in front of you. I think with the hip and everything, with him being like questionable for this game, I was really impressed with the amount of effort and the amount of minutes that he was able to play tonight. But yeah, no, I think that Lou is the key. Not the key, but like he is. If Shea is number one in offense, like Lou is going to be the number two in getting us to a win.
Yeah,
we have an Instagram comment that said, "How do you guys feel about Shea's block?" I think it just shows how many like different layers there are to Shea's game. Even if maybe his scoring isn't on, he can affect the game in so many different ways, and one of those is just his ability to go up and contest shots. That's something you wouldn't typically see from such an efficient scorer like him, is the willingness to go up and contest shots like that.
He has big time blocks like that we can easily recall and play in our memory. In every game, it feels like he steps off the weak side and comes in and goes for a block. And there's instances where he gets slammed on and he just doesn't mind. Same as Hartenstein, same as Chet. Like those guys go for those moments where it's like you got to put everything on the line, and he's willing to do that as an MVP contender. Like, I mean, at this point, he's runaway MVP, practically unanimous, I believe. Last time I checked his odds, it was at like 90% odds to win it. And I'm sure they're only growing with this win with a shorthanded, no J-Dub, no Chet. I mean, Dortcher Chamber was in full effect here. Another comment here on IG was Clippers played good defense tonight, but we didn't capitalize on their turnovers. Too many smoked layups, missed attempts on the outlets. That was pretty much kind of the downfall in this, is we could have utilized the turnovers a little bit to our advantage. We did get a lot of foul calls off of that, and I guess indirectly free throws and points off of that. But typically we convert. We're the highest converting team. I actually posted on Twitter. Like I think I can pull up the stat here real quick. I have my Twitter pulled up. We're plus 377. That's like unbelievable from a turnover differential. And in this day and age, the next closest team is only at 196, and it's the 76ers on field goal attempt differential. I mean, ridiculous. And we're turning over, at a historic rate. We're doing everything at a historic rate, but tonight was a little bit less than historic, and that's still more than what other teams are providing. And also something that I noticed was going into the halftime, it was only, the other team had only scored 50 points. And that's where it kind of clocked for me. If these guys aren't going to get over that 110 mark, they're losing this game. I think we're 39-1 in those situations. If a team can't score over 110, they're losing. There's only been like one random game where we lost, where probably something historic had to happen. And that's been what the season has been.
Against two high-level high-level scorers that are likely future Hall of Famers in Kawhi.
I would say three high-level scorers, with Norman Powell being
Powell's been awesome this season.
Yeah,
scoring.
He's borderline all-star. He's probably going to win, or he should be winning MIP, but sadly probably won't get that one.
Yeah, no, probably definitely should have been an all-star. For the fact that we're able to go up against three all-star caliber players and play the way that we did with, two of our starters being out, really speaks to the level of this team, Sorry, I completely smoked on what I was about to say.
No, you're good, man. The other thing I wanted to point out from the Clippers side of the basketball was Chris Dunn did a fantastic job on SGA. Anytime I saw him on SGA, like he was getting
away with a lot though. But we may see that in the playoffs, so it's good preparation.
Exactly. We're going to see exactly that in the playoffs. And another thing to add on to that was, on top of Chris Dunn doing what he did, I don't know what it is. Shea is just seemingly like he just gets gassed so quickly when the pressure notches up from a defensive standpoint. Like he starts hunching over, gasping for air. I know he's doing so much on offensive end, but we need to start leveraging other ball handlers like Cason Wallace. That's where I was screaming at the TV to Mark, was like, we just need more Cason Wallace minutes just for ball handling purposes, because Shea carrying it up, Shea self-creating, Shea pick and roll. Like, of course the dude's going to be hunched over and he has to play defense on the other end where they're putting him in every pick and roll situation, with James Harden noticing like he's absolutely gassed. So those were the two little points that I wanted to point out. We have a quick comment here by JB. Clutch 3 by Caruso. Also, he mentioned the same thing we did. Wiggins needs more time. I'll let you guys speak about that.
Go ahead,
Landon. Oh, no, I was just about to say, Wiggins definitely needs to, at least in my opinion, in this game, he definitely needs to hit more of those catch and shoot threes. There are a lot of times where it was a lot of reloading shots. There are a lot of shots that I feel like we needed to take maybe a second longer and think about if this is the right decision. I know it's not Wiggins, but there was a few shots by Shea tonight where I just kind of thought like, hey, why are we not taking another 5 seconds on the shot clock and trying to let's see if something develops, Yeah. But honestly, like I said earlier, I think that Wiggins not playing is more of a testament to Caruso than anything bad on Wiggins,
Yeah, I mean, Caruso, Kaysen, and Dort being there, it's tough to break through those guys, along with Shea's just going to get his minutes. And he even got less minutes than he typically would in a close game like this. If he was on, I'm guessing he's playing 40 minutes in a close game, and we'd probably easily handily beat them. But still, I feel like there were still minutes between having Kenrich on the floor at times. He should not be playing more than maybe 14, 15 minutes maximum, in my opinion. I know those 4 or 5 minutes can make a huge difference from an offensive standpoint, especially when those guys aren't, producing on the offensive end. And this is great from Blaster here, mentioning Isaiah Joe kind of hurting us a little bit on the offensive end. Like if his shot's not falling, there's no need for him to be on the court 20 minutes. It should just be noticeable, like, hey, if he doesn't hit his first 2, we kind of know what's expected of him for the rest of the night. He'll still maybe provide a couple layups here and there and still provide like solid defense. And if someone needs rest, great, put him in. But if his shot's not there, there was 2 back-to-back Shea wide open assists that he missed. I believe it was either in the late third or early fourth, where there was a kick out opportunity from Shea, kicks it out to Joe, miss, gets it back again. We get an offensive board, kicks it back out to Joe from Shea, miss. And I'm like, okay, make the sub like that. There should be an immediate sub right there. And most other sports teams, like if we see a situation like that, like at least from when I used to play sports, like you make a mistake that's that noticeable twice, you're probably sitting bench very quickly. So
unfortunately for him, if he's not hot in the playoffs, he's easily replaceable with the way that Dort's been shooting, and also Wallace's offensive efficiency since the All-Star break. And even in the month of March, I think I saw a stat that he's averaging around 12 points in the month of March, which is huge because we already know the defensive impact that Wallace brings. He's just like an Energizer bunny running around, poking the ball out, getting deflections.
Facts.
And then to add that layer of his game with the offense, it's hard not to play Wallace, especially over a Joe that's missing threes when that's the most important part of his game.
Yeah.
I know that earlier we had kind of talked about the playmaking abilities from other players. How much do you think that AJ has an effect on that when he gets back? Because I know he's only a rookie, but his short time in playing in those first 2-3 months, that was super impressive.
Yeah, the way he kind of ended off his stretch before his injury, Like he was just on a crazy hot streak. I believe he would have been in Rookie of the Year talks if he just kept that play up and if he was healthy, like throughout the rest of the season. The way he was playing, like he would have at least gotten top 5, top 3 recognition. I mean, just from like his own self-creation minutes, and then also he can just set up the offense. Like he's just the dual point guard guy that we need, and he's coming back here in a couple of weeks. I believe maybe 1 or 2 weeks out from his initial injury.
His reevaluation date is April 2nd.
Yeah, super early April. Like he should be, starting to warm up and then getting in game shape here for that first series. Maybe see some late game or late series minutes just to get him warmed up, and maybe 5 to 10 minute spurts or something like that. And then he's good to go for that second round. And that'd be exactly what we would want in a situation like that. Like he'd be a great guy that you can just plug and play for 10 to 12 minutes and he can just provide instant offense. And those are the crucial rest minutes that we need from a guy like AJ when Shai is not on the court. Like self-creation is hard to come by, especially if, let's say, J-Dub is not on the court as well and we're resting him for whatever reason, and it's just that lineup that we saw today. We need a guy like AJ to lead those types of lineups. So, I mean, AJ plus the way J Will's playing right now, them in a pick and roll, like I'll take that all day from a second unit.
It's hard to predict how he'll. It's never easy recovering from an injury as a rookie. It's a hard bounce back, especially with it being his first injury in his professional career. A toe injury that severe can hurt your mobility. So I hope he can get to full strength by the playoffs, because only a handful of basketball games might not be enough time for him to get back to 100% strength.
Yeah. And I still can't believe, like, I know we kind of are glossing over the fact that J-Dub and Chet just didn't play in this game and we just won this. Like, that's hitting me right now a little bit more. We're getting into the recap and I'm like, man, like, this is a possible first round series that we could probably easily, sweep or, at least get away handily in 5 games from the way we just played tonight. And if we have Chet and J-Dub, we're blowing these guys out by 20, 30 points with the offensive skill sets they're bringing, and then both of them kind of being all-star level on the defensive end. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much a wrap and should be pretty easy for us.
I think there would probably be, I think you can almost bet on that there would be one big game in LA from Kawhi and James, but who says that Chet, Shai, and J-Dub can't match their scoring and score even more points than they do?
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say, and who's to say that Shai misses another 20 shots in a game?
Yeah, it's rare you see a game like this from Shai. It's like once in a blue moon.
Yeah, this is probably his second game all season where I'm like, it's a pretty bad shooting night for him. Like, and typically we'd lose in these types of scenarios, and even how down we are right now with the roster, we still pulled out the win, and the roster just improved throughout the whole season. And I think that's where those, different lineups from last season and this season are kind of starting to pay off. All those minutes we gave the bench guys is just slowly starting to accumulate into us winning more and more. And that's where the madness of Presti and Mark is shining, where most other fans won't think about it that way. It's like not an accumulation. They're like, oh, we're losing games in the current time, but for future sense, like we're only getting better even for next season. Like I can't even imagine what next season is going to look like for the league when they have to face us.
Scary.
We have this YouTube comment here that OKC really needed a clutch game like this. I agree, and it's crazy to think that if J-Dub and Chet play, we might not even get into that situation. But I really don't think there's a more picture-perfect game for us for playoff preparation. You can't expect it. I mean, it'd be awesome, but it's really hard to say that OKC just runs through every team they play in the playoffs. We're going to run into clutch situations like this where we need guys to step up and be producers outside of Chet, J-Dub, and Shai.
Yeah.
And that guy was Caruso tonight. It'd be awesome to see that from him in the playoffs and see if he can replicate what he did tonight.
Speaking of the playoffs, I kind of asked this question the other day, but who do y'all think that is going to be the X factor in when it comes playoffs time?
Wiggins. I think Wiggins personally. I think if
I'm going
he
to
can
say J-Dub for me.
That's a good
that's
one
the
too.
guy.
I personally think it's going to be Caruso, or not Caruso, Queso. Queso. I think his ability to switch on defensively he can guard the number one on their team. I mean, if Lou fouls out, it's not like we are up Shit's Creek,
Host, yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty much at near the same level as you can kind of get. The type of defense that Queso provides is a little bit different than Dort's, but it's still just as effective. I feel like between Caruso, Kaysen, and Dort, they all have like all defensive type of defense, but it's just all played a little bit differently. Like Dort's not trying to give up any ground. Caruso is just using his high IQ to be cutting you off on the spot. And then Kaysen's kind of a mixture of both of those guys. Like he's not giving up space, but he's also cutting you off at the same time. And that he just impresses me so much for his he looks like he's smaller, and then I googled his height and he's like 6'3", so he's right up there with most guards. Like it's not like we're giving up too much length with him on the court. He just looks a lot smaller in terms of frame, but he makes up for that with his athleticism. He has sneaky athleticism. He almost yammed it out on Zubac there with that dunk. And just in general, like you'll see him they'll try to shoot the ball over him. He'll just go up and snatch it like he's Ja Morant or something. Like ridiculous.
I would give him the sneaky athletic label. Like you wouldn't really expect it, and then just out of nowhere, he makes one of those electric plays, and it's a posterizer or a huge slam on a fast break, and it can just totally switch a game around.
He has also blocked more jump shots than I've seen a player do all season. I think his wingspan is one of his biggest strengths because his hands are so fast and they're so active that it's hard for a defender to even get by him.
Yeah. You can't cleanly get by him. Like he had the Kawhi assignment late there in the fourth. You saw the ball go off of Kawhi's knee on one play where Kaysen, takes a little stab at it, goes off his knee, easy turnover. That's not attributed as a steal. That's more just a possession. And NBA is all about possessions, and we're leading in that front from like a possession creation off of the defense. So he's just a guy that generates plays like that. Same with Caruso, like active hands. Both of them are similar in that way. And it's great that they're all kind of, in group trading sessions, and then they're trading secrets. And a guy like Caruso is able to get into the ear of Kaysen Wallace and be like, hey, if you do this move or do this, like you'll improve or whatever. Like that's crazy.
Having Lou Dort and Alex Caruso as your two defensive mentors as a defensive-minded player has to be the best possible setup as a defensive guard.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're not a defensive guard, I mean, I feel like even a guy like AJ who's not really known for his defense, I mean, I feel like it still gives, good pointers, on how to guard these high-level guys.
Yeah. And I've been harping on it that Shea buying into the defensive identity kind of causes a chain reaction where these younger guys want to step up and kind of replicate what he's doing, playing hard on both sides of the court.
Yeah, that was literally going to be my next point is Shea's bought in even more. Like typically he's been a guy that will kind of guard the worst defender on the court and be in the corner and not as engaged kind of early in the first couple seasons. That was his criticism that a lot of people had of him was he's averaging 30 and he's just not playing off-ball defense. And that was something I will say I did say about him was it was kind of annoying where he's, giving us 30 on one end and then guys are backdooring him on the other end. And then slowly, picking up this defensive culture and then him understanding like it's not just about the points. I think that's something he understood really a lot more last season was he was getting the points, but once he locked in and started becoming a stock monster, like ridiculous. That's when, yeah, him and Chet was the stock market. So they just started, getting all the steals and blocks, and then that kind of clicked for him, right? And then obviously having Lou Dort on the court and then bringing in Caruso this season, it's like gelling even more for Shea to be like, okay, I need to go up for this block in a big moment, or hey, I need to step into this rotation, or I'd be costing these guys because the four of them are defending pretty much for him to play offense on the other end. So it'd be a disservice for him to go drop 35 and not play any defense. Like as a player, like if I'm any good, I'd hate to be that kind of guy, right? Like just to be an offensive guy and rely on my teammates the whole time. And there's offensive pieces like Luka Doncic that pretty much does exactly that. He'll sit in the corner, pray that he's not getting picked on, and rely on Dorian Finney and the rest of the guys on the Lakers to kind of bail him out. And that's not really how team defense is played. You have to be locked in the whole game. And that's what we have in our superstar guard. And that's why we'll keep winning games.
I feel like that's the conversation that isn't talked about enough when it comes to talking about MVP is the defensive side of the ball. He's the most valuable player on the team, all around, offensive and defensively. And, if there's an offensive player of the year, it would definitely go to Shea. But I mean, you cannot discredit the defensive mindset that he has come in with this season, and really, really his everything about his defensive guy has gotten better. His instincts, his speed, his quickness, his blocks is crazy. I just think that when we talk about MVP, I think it's crazy how the defensive side of the ball just doesn't get brought up.
Yeah, I can completely agree. I'm trying to look at any other things that we may be missing here. Overall, it was just a pretty complete game. It was a typical Thunder culture type of game where we just needed to get this win no matter what, and we still pulled it out. Like this is kind of, like we mentioned, worst case scenario from Shea, and our bench unit is doing exactly what we need from them. And I'm sure Presti's out there somewhere and thinking back to all the signings that he made between Caruso, Hartenstein, re-signing Isaiah Joe, and everyone else that we kind of picked up with AJ, Dylan Jones, through the draft. Like the team is just getting complete, and all these guys are just picking up the slack.
It's the next man up it's the next man up mentality. Everyone's bought in. Everyone on the team some of it's in part due to the chemistry of this team. Everyone has each other's back, especially Jay Will. It's underlooked like how much that guy wants to see his teammates succeed. He's such a good supporter.
Yeah, I got a couple IG comments to go through here. Clayza31 mentioned this game was great experience for us. What do you guys think?
For sure. I mean, I think that while the refs were bad tonight, I think it's the type of whistle that we're going to be expecting in the playoffs. It's very physical basketball. It's a very physical type of environment. We just need to be able to overcome that. I think that we had a lot of turnovers in this game. We had a lot of, shots that weren't falling. But I think that the way that we're able to close out games is the most important thing. The way that we're able to get stops on defense, will ourselves to the free throw line, making plays that have an impact on the game really makes the difference.
Yeah. You could really tell that the Clippers defense was trying to match our intensity to close that fourth quarter. It seemed like they were playing more vicious and trying to attack the passing lanes and cut our guys off. And we still managed to win and do the regular thing we do in the fourth quarter. And that's just to amp it up. And our guys just play with another gear closing out games, especially Caruso. We see it from Wallace, obviously Shea, but that's a given.
Ty Lue is one of the best masterminds of the league. I would say he's top 3, top 5 coaches in the league. And he had the perfect game plan of having a very soft zone going into that fourth quarter against Shea, where he wasn't giving him anything on the mid-range, especially from the two corners that he likes in the mid-range spots. He pretty much negated that, and that took away a lot of our offense. And that's something I'm afraid of going into the playoffs. Like, I feel like every team is just going to stack up into that middle of the mid-range area where Shea likes to operate and just say, figure out your offense now. And we don't typically have many answers when that does happen. We usually start going towards guys like Hartenstein in the paint to do some kick-out opportunities, or we immediately go into pick and roll situations. I think we need to have a couple more set plays where we have double screens, a little bit more urgency, quicker into the shot clock, where we can't let their defense set up in a way that they're pretty much essentially doing exactly what teams did to Giannis, where they're pretty much saying, shoot this rock from the three-point line. We're not giving you anything in the mid-range. You're sure as heck not getting to the, paint. We're just they pretty much build a wall right near that mid-range area and just say, you guys are a three-point shooting team at this point. Good luck. And that's where we need to generate a lot more offense. What do you guys think about us being worried about the Lakers?
After seeing this team's depth and ability for anyone off our bench to just buy into that next man up mentality and just step up and be that guy, I just don't think anyone in the West can match our depth. I'm not really worried about any of the Lakers bench pieces. Of course, Luka Doncic and LeBron is tough, but like past that, I don't think they can match our bench.
I also kind of think that they're suffering from the thing that we suffered from last year, is that they just don't have much size. I mean, they traded away Anthony Davis. They got back Alex Lynn, and Alex Lynn is going to do Alex Lynn things. Maybe grab 7, 8, 9 rebounds, but when it comes to actually having a paint presence, I'm not really too worried about it. One thing that does worry me in the playoffs is teams seem to be having a lot of success against us whenever they have a two-man blitz on Shea. And I think that the one thing that can cure and remedy that is J-Dub needs to be more consistent. I know that he's been out. I know everything, and I'm not really talking about these games. I'm talking about the whole season. But J-Dub's consistency, if we can get him to be a 40%, from the field shooter, then I just think that takes this team to a whole nother level. It gives Shea the room to operate, and it gives everybody a chance to move around and play their role to the highest ability. Gravity is so important when it comes to the playoffs, and so is momentum. But if we can get a one-on-one look with Shea, because you have to put a man on J-Dub, I don't think that there is a team that can stop us.
Yeah, completely agree. I've got a couple comments to roll through here. We'll comment on a couple that seem interesting. Boy Skies mentioned that we had great composure in this game. We've been crushing the league, and that's kind of why they're pissed off at us. Also, we had some flopper chants here in this game. On the point we were making about Josh Giddey and us not having that bench creation. Someone mentioned Josh there. Aj Mokic or something like that mentioned Mike Muscala, the Thunder legend. Really miss Moose. Really miss him. King Capers in the chat. What's up, bro? Welcome in. Genuine question. Do you guys think we will have enough to keep the big three? I can answer that if you guys want me to take it first, or if you guys want to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
From a strictly money perspective, we should have no problems with the way the cap space is set up, with the way the first and second apron rules are set up. Unfortunately, I've been setting up on those, and we should be perfectly fine with the way the percentages are set up for the contracts between those three. Also,
we specifically built our salary cap around signing Shea to an extension this off season. Like we've been preparing in advance for that opportunity to extend him.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we signed Joe and Wiggins early on the longer term contracts, even
Mhm.
Kendrick on a longer term contract. We have all these guys secured for at least the next 2 seasons. So we have a
And we
good
extended
championship.
Caruso.
Yeah, exactly. So we have all these guys for a good championship window, and then we're gonna, secure up Shea here. So between the extensions that J-Dub and Chet will be getting next season, we won't have any problems from like a cap space perspective because everyone will be locked up, and it's very rare for teams to be in that type of situation. Yes, it'll be costly, but what championship run isn't costly in any type of way? So we should have no problem there. I appreciate the question. Zay,
I actually did have one question about that. Do you think that Shea is going to take the $70 million? I mean, like, not take it, but do you think he's going to demand that $70 million? Because I think that with the team that we built, and maybe this is just seeing our boys having fun on the sidelines, and me thinking that like Shea wouldn't want to break that up, but like, does Shea take like a $50 million a year contract to keep his boys together?
no, not that low. I can see him taking a solid 5 to 10% decrease on his overall contract, where it's depreciating, similar to what Joe, Wiggins, anyone else that's signing a contract with the Thunder is pretty much doing. Is they're giving us 5 to 10% back, and the reason for that is they want to be part of a championship winning culture and team, and that's the reason he got rid of his agent, is to save that 5 to 10% that he would have given to the agent.
It builds a cushion, but at the end of the day, he knows his value. He's a potential MVP this year. The guy's gonna want his money. He knows his value. He's not gonna take too many cuts, but he does have a slight cushion with becoming his own agent, where he can take a slim pay cut. Because
the pay cut will be on the back end of the deal, similar to all the other contracts that we sign with all our players. They're all front loaded. So as the championship window goes further, the cheaper the team becomes, which no other team can say that. So Presti has this definitely figured out from like a contract perspective. And that's kind of the plan, is depreciating contracts, front loading them. So he'll get his maximum money his first and second year. And then maybe he'll take a nice little $10 million pay cut on his final year. And that saves us a butt ton of money, because when we need to sign other extensions or need to sign bench guys in those big moments when he's pretty much in his prime, like he's going to be a cheaper all-star and superstar and MVP compared to all the other players in his realm, where guys like Luka are not giving up a single dime or dollar. Other guys that are going to be, extension eligible here, they're not giving up back end money like that. Like when Luka signs this extension here for either 3 or 5 years, he's taking all the money he can get. I can promise you that. Is Mark in the running for Coach of the Year? I'd say he's in the running, but I think Kenny Atkinson has pretty much secured it. The Cavaliers coach, they're on like a crazy run, even though they've lost a couple of games here in a row. But I think it's pretty much a shoe-in. Hotspot Casino mentioned call-ins. Yeah, if you're a Thunder fan, hit us up on IG. If you hit our Thunder fan page up at Bring the Thunder Podcast, just send us a DM. We'll send you a link. You can hop on the pod and chat it up with us post games. He also mentioned Shea isn't sound 1v1 defensively, but he has the ability to recover on shots and is able to contest at the rim. I would say one-on-one defensively, he's more than solid.
I wouldn't say sound, just when you're being compared to Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, it's hard to compete with those guys. He struggles. He struggles sometimes when he gets switched on to all-star caliber players like a Harden or someone like that. But against like some of those just starters who aren't all-star level talents, he can hold his own one-on-one, I would say.
Yeah. And he's usually letting them go by, and if he's doing anything, he's trying to get a steal in that scenario, or he'll just transition on to the next guy and be like, I got Chet behind me, I'm good. He knows where his strengths are. He knows he's not the best 1v1 defender, so he knows where he lies in terms of that. So he usually does the right, like I would say he does the right rotations. So that's better than a guy that's, messing up the rotations. And that's what he was doing kind of early in his career when he was younger. There was a lot of rotations that he would mess up, and he's learned from that, and he's figured out his rotations now. So
I will say it's he is kind of a madman to be a guard and jumping with these wings and centers, trying to get blocks at the rim. That will always make me laugh, but also like give me such a found respect for him.
Yeah, exactly, man. We're at the 45-minute mark here. We've got 10 people in the chat on YouTube. We appreciate everyone for joining in. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the follow button, wherever you guys are watching us from. We'll continue to bring you guys post-game breakdowns like this. We have one going live for after this game tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central. And then we also have our typical Friday 3 p.m. Central episodes that we do every single week. So we appreciate everyone for joining in. I appreciate you, Josh, for
I appreciate you, boys.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you on.
If you're ever free, come back on the pod. This was awesome chatting with you.
Dude, hell yeah. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, man. I appreciate everyone in the chat. Peace out. Be on the lookout for the video in the morning.
Oh yeah. Thunder up.
Thunder up. Let's go, baby.